Okay, when it comes to the actual equipment that I'm using, I like to use line counter reels. And I kind of use, it's not, it's not the cream of the crop reel, but it's a decent reel. It gets the job done for me. Line counter with a very big spool. These spools are large enough if I wanted to unspool them to put on some lead core, I could put a whole spool of lead core and it would still work out for me, but mostly I don't really use the lead core. I got two rods actually that I use for lead core that are set up for lead core, but they have big reels just like this. Um, you don't have to have a line counter on lead core. You can just count the colors, but you know, sometimes it just works out for you. And I like the line counter, so I'll do it that way. You know, so that's what I use. That's one type that I use, just a rod with the built-in line counter. And when you're not using your pole, when you come back home for the evening, take your drag and loosen that drag all the way up. You don't want that drag just sitting tight all the time because it'll warp your washers. It takes a long time for it to happen, but it doesn't hurt anything just to keep it loose. So I'll just take my drag and turn it all the way off until the next time I get on the water. And when I'm on the water, the drag's not really that tight because I just keep enough drag on it to provide good tension to keep the baits from free spooling out. Because when that fish hits the bait, I want that fish to take it. And so by the time I can get to it, he's got a good hook in him. Then I can set the hook and tighten up the drag and set the hook. My main line is typically going to be anywhere from 16 to 20 pounds. I like to just use the 20 pound because I just think it gives me a better chance of catching the fish when I actually catch them. Some people say that's a little heavy and I might spook the fish, but I'll take my chances. The poles themselves, I have a hodgepodge of poles. I have a lot of the ugly sticks, and I got some pin sticks. I just got, any man special, as long as it's a good sturdy pole. All my poles are medium heavies. I use that for everything. I just like a medium heavy. I think the medium's a little limber for me, and the heavies are just too stiff, so I just go for the medium heavy. Gives me a good mix of everything. This right here is a very good pole. I just bought this little extra Shakespeare line counter. I find it to be relatively accurate. I can clip it on the pole and just keep going. Don't really have any troubles, no hurt. And that's how I use the depth control on that, again, because on downlines, depth control is very important. Coming on to the back, again, here's another line counter. This one is a Daiwa level line, and then this is a Shimano pole. And for my free lines, like I said, I'll typically just use 2 spinning rods. And these are just my old bass rods from bass fishing. It was a 400 series. It's got a lot of line capacity. That one over there is actually a salt rod or rated pin. So they're just as good and getting the fish in. And on these 2 poles, I will max go at 15, 16 pound tests. I don't put 20 pound tests on these because it's just a little too thick and just doesn't work out well. It's too thick. It's not limber enough for my taste. Okay, so from this view, I'm not sure if you can see it well, but as I sit here and look at it, I have a clear shot of the 2D sonar and the mapping unit up front. So I use those two as my early warning. I can look at the map and see kind of where the contours are going. I can know which way I need to keep trolling. If I come along a point, or if I come over a hump, I can make adjustments because I can see that just fine from here. And then with the 2D sonar up there, that unit's sitting at the front of the boat, so it's it's a couple 15 feet in front of me maybe, and I can use that as my early warning. And when I see something pop up on the screen over there, I can then look over here at the down imaging and at the side imaging. And what that does for me, that gives me an early warning of things I can look for, and I can pick it out on these hit screens and see exactly what it is that I'm looking for. And of course I use the side imaging more just to look left and right of me, because there may be a school of fish that's outside of the traditional 2D or the down imaging, but if it's to the left or right, if I'm going out 100 feet, sometimes I'll go out 150, depends on how deep the water is, you can really get a clear picture of what's going on out there. So I use this unit for my side imaging. Then I will use that unit for my down imaging, which is going to give me some crystal clear images of what exactly is under me. And then I use the units up front for mapping and for traditional 2D sonar. Again, I use the 2D as just an early warning. It's a great picture. I see it just fine from back here. I can sit at the driver's seat and I can just move around and see everything else I need to see. That little unit that's down on the left, that's the Hydrowave bait simulator. And I also use that when I'm trolling a lot too. I have seen it work. You know, it's not going to necessarily catch you more fish, but it will stimulate the bait, and that's what it says it would do. Stimulate the bait, and that stimulation of the bait could stimulate the fish. So can't hurt to have it on, and I keep it on. I've had success with it and without it, but I have it, so I'm going to use it.